Alrighty, so how is everyone? Tell me what's going on. Angela, you're right here, so you can go first.
Okay. I have a little bit of a cold I got yesterday and just kind of getting over that, pretty minor. I don't know. One thing I've decided I'm going to lead a 6 week kind of spiritual practices small group
Perfect. Oh,
starting in
perfect.
January. I had planned it a couple years ago and never did it and feel like now's the time. So I'm going back into my plans and I got new ideas and kind of feel excited about that. Yeah, I
Perfect.
feel it's a time for yeah, getting together with community and supporting each other on our life journeys. So
That is exactly the energy of the world right now. And so you were led to that because that's precisely what we're supposed to be doing, what's supposed to be happening. So that's great. Oh, good. And it'll feel uncomfortable.
yeah.
And it's
I'm
got
wondering if
to.
that's why I have a cold.
It could
Well,
be absolutely because the resistance comes up, and we will have physical things going on. And this was even in the program, that we may have these physical things going on because our bodies are ascending as well. Everything is changing, and so, but it's typically, from my experience, take it from me, it's resistance. Every physical thing that I'd gone through was always my resistance. I figure it out later. But as we start letting go and moving into who we're meant to be, these things start to clear up. And so, yeah, that's what will go on. What about everyone else?
Um,
Oh yeah, you're on. Okay, good. I can hear you.
the season has been really good for me. What I've wanted to get out of this meditation retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to watch myself play out old stories.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a common dream that I can now kind of ferret out what it was trying to say to me.
Mm-hmm.
In the dream, I'm being I've been treated unfairly, to make a short story out of a very long one.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I wake up crying, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a deep sadness for someone that when I'm out of the dream, I go, who was that? Who was that person?
Mm-hmm.
And just 2 or 3 days ago, I found myself as a little boy in a gauntlet over something that I brought in from a past life, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I was I was a thumb sucker.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the day it was, oh, he'll outgrow it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was in second grade, and we were getting ready to move into town, and it was a new start for me. Okay. But what gave me the incentive was my dad and my maternal grandfather said they would give me 50 cents a week for 6 months if I could quit sucking my thumb for
Mm-hmm.
6 months. And in 1962, that's a lot of dough.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. when a Hershey bar was a nickel, and you
Yeah.
were getting $1 a week just for not sticking your thumb in your mouth. But I also remembered all the things that they said to me that they were going to do if I didn't quit.
Mm-hmm.
Putting poison on my thumb, and so I was terribly afraid of being poisoned as a young child.
Oh.
I'm so glad this program is working. Because
But I had a renewed sense of compassion for myself
Uh,
And it was difficult, but I sat with it. You know,
Mhm.
I didn't do whatever I mean, I still dodged and ducked around, and my
Mhm.
body, said, "Oh, you're sick. You're something's wrong with you. Lay down and shut the world out and shut down," which I did rest,
Mhm.
but I didn't block it like I have in the
Mhm.
past.
That's exactly thank you so much for that, because you this is so perfect. You set this up so well. And yes, and that was exactly it. Heidi, what about you?
I'm really kind of having the same old, same old.
And what does that mean?
Uh, just seems like a normal week, except my shifts are all messed up except for today's. So I'm actually working a normal shift for me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've kind of stopped going to karaoke because people there just annoy me.
Mhm.
But now I'm feeling like I have a power in my voice and I kind of want to go back to karaoke. Not for them, but for me. Just so I
You're
can
also you're just being in your presence, all of you, is just saying that this is all working. And so you're saying exactly the right things. Yeah, you're supposed to come into your power now. That's what's happening, and you're recognizing that. And so as you are feeling that more, when you go back, it's going to be a completely new experience for you.
Mm.
Because you see, it'll be different now, because before, where you were trying to get them to pay attention, no, you're going to say, I'm here.
Mm.
It's very different. It's a very different energy. And you all set this up so well, because I had to talk about this, and we all have to begin to acknowledge who we are and what we have. That's what this work is about. That's what this program is about. And that's why the world is changing in the way that it is now, because we're evolving. We're going through a planetary ascension. And so we're all going to change, and the world is going to change. And seeing all the insanity that's happening in the world, we're supposed to look at that and say, oh, I'm being motivated to do something now. I'm being motivated to own who I am. And that's exactly what this program is. And so yesterday, and this is why I wanted to talk about this. I did the channeling session on Wednesday, and I have to just acknowledge this. I knew it was going to be kind of powerful, but I didn't expect it to be exactly what it was. And when I was done, I was a little freaked out and exhausted, and I couldn't even listen to it for a while. It took me hours to go back, because I think this is going to be nuts. This is going to be, I don't know what just happened. And when I listened to it hours later, when I was able to do that, I said, oh, okay, now I get it. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that why I have this information, and I understand where the world is going and why everything is changing. And what I was meant to do was to bring this work here so you guys could say all the words that you just said. That you're moving, that you're finding your power, that you're processing through old trauma, because that's what's going on for all of us. And sometimes, as Clarity said, we don't know where it came from, because this is a generational change that we're all moving through, and we come in different ways, different DNAs, but we're supposed to let go of it. Many people are not doing this, which is why we have conflict everywhere in the world, because we're attempting to change. We're attempting to evolve. And this is what ascension is all about. And so, and with Angela, what she said, being moved to do something with a group and getting out there, which is not going to be, which for many of us, not a comfortable thing to do that, but we know we have to do it. We know we're supposed to do it. And then we've got to hold on to it. That's where we're going right now. And then and this happened last night. I decided that what I'm going to do is I'm changing the program. When I recognized that all of this work that I have been, and we've all been doing this to a degree, and this is what this is about. When I recognized, wait a minute, I have something that I've put together. I've been channeling this stuff for 34 years, and I've worked through every problem in my life, and I've done all of these things, and I'm still not telling people. This is what we all do This is what we do to a degree. You see what I'm saying? Whatever you've lived is valuable. Whatever you've done, whatever you've accomplished is valuable, and it's meant to be used now because we're trying to ascend to a higher state of being in our world. That's what's going on. Not everyone is going to understand that, but you guys do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You see, that's just the way that it works. And so I sat there last night and I wrote out this thing, which many of you will see later. I said, okay, what I'm doing is I'm making the program just a 4-week program. I said, I'm going to make it 3 months because we don't accomplish anything in just a month. But then I said, what I'm going to do is add in there work on relationships and then money. These are because those are the areas that we have trouble with, all of it, every single person, because it's energetically connected to who we are. Money is just an energy, and so it's connected. If we're not finding that place of our authenticity, then we might struggle in those areas, or in other ways we might struggle in terms of being insecure or less confident or whatever it is. And that's also just a process of moving to acceptance of who we are. And so I sat here and I did this and I wrote out this whole thing. And I said, I'll tell you the format, how much it's going to cost and all of that. But all the people in the program now, or anyone who comes in before Monday, no one will have to pay anything extra. That's what I said. I'm going to take December and I'm going to work on because I have so much information. I'm going to work on the money aspect. I'm going to work on the relationships. And let's just kind of go for this. And then I look at the message for today. And it was about change. Now, and I said, oh, well, maybe I should go on and talk about this because nobody believes me. Nobody will believe that I actually received this information in 2012 and that there was some synchronicity in the dates that keep us all on track to where we're going in our lives and where we're going to. But I didn't do it. I stopped myself. I said, oh, nobody's going to believe that happened. I shouldn't do that. I put it out there today, but I talked about it a bit because I had to write that and talk about it, which is what I'm doing here, because there are too many of us that are just kind of holding back and not bringing our gifts forward. That's what it is. And it is we have to understand though, we don't know what we have. None of us know what we have because we've not lived it. We haven't done it yet. That's all. We have not done this time in our world either. No one has. That's why it feels uncomfortable and scary. And we have more to move through. We're not done yet. It's going to be at least, like I said, at least another year or more as we're still making this transition. However, it is the best time ever for us to work on what we came to the world to offer. And that is every single person. And that's what I was writing last night, because I wanted people to understand when they say to me, I don't have a life purpose, I don't have anything important that's never true. It's just a story that we made up and we've been telling ourselves, because any single person could decide that they were going to change our world just with their influence. Each of us could do that just with our influence if we believed it. Because there's no one who has more power and ability than any other person. We just decide how much we're going to accept. And I have known this for so long, and I'm talking about it because I have to be completely transparent. In 2005, I told you the dream that I had when Clarity was talking about a dream. That was the dream that I had, and I tried to put it away. It was the only one that I remembered my entire life, about being this leader at a certain point where we were going to do something to help the world. I said, that can't possibly be me. Every single one of us has done that to a degree. But we have to. Because then it's about, oh, wait a minute. Who am I supposed to, is there more? There's always more. And I can say this too, because it's never about what we have. It is never about how much money or any of that stuff. I've had all of that. I've worked with people who've had tons and tons of money, but they still weren't satisfied. They still weren't fulfilled. Fulfillment comes when we become willing to embrace every aspect of ourselves. That's all. We were given something and we just develop it and cultivate it as we live our lives. And that's what's going on. We just happen to be in a particular period of the world, time of the world, that none of us have experienced. And it's incredibly chaotic. I just saw Bruce Lipton put something up on today, a post on Facebook about, oh, why does everything seem so chaotic? See, because he's explaining it from a scientific standpoint, because he has that awareness from a scientific and spiritual standpoint, but still, we are moving through an evolutionary change, and we happen to be privy enough. We were granted, that sounds crazy, but think about it. We were granted the gift of living during this period because it was going to cause us to actualize who we are and why we're in the world. And it's hard to accept that. It's difficult to accept that because we have been taught something else from the time we were born. But we change it. And I can talk about this because I wrote all this information. You have to understand this. For all these years, but in 2012, particularly, most of the stuff that I'm using in the program, but I still have to go back and look at it and read it and assimilate it and decide to incorporate it into my life. That is the decision that we all have to make. And it's a daily one. I go back and I look at things that I wrote years ago, which was clearly the path: practice, patience, and persistence. That was the first one about that's how we get anywhere, is to start changing our minds and do it consistently and decide to stay with it until we manifest what we desire or we come to an awareness of who we are. Because it's always unfolding. We're never there. Yeah, clarity.
We've been through different stages of technological and linguistic evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought of the stage from hunter-gatherer to doing agriculture as being a linguistic step.
Mm-hmm.
That we had to have enough language, we had to have a spoken language, basically, in order to make that step. It didn't happen overnight, but it was a virtual reality that we created out of nature. Agriculture was a creation of virtual reality that we created as human beings. And then the next stage was our language, and then mathematics, because our language reached a limit that we had to use a symbolic language to describe more complex thoughts.
We are, okay, I'm glad you said that as well. So, you're speaking of consciousness. And that's the only place we exist ever. Whether we're in these physical bodies or we're eternal spirits. That's difficult for many of us to understand because we fear death so much. That's usually what either motivates us or causes us to live in fear. However, we live in our consciousness. And when we think of that, and I had to look back at everything in that program, everything I received continually referred to your physical life experience, meaning we are not alive forever. We're in these bodies for a particular time. And it's our job, our duty to use what we were given during this finite time that we're in the world to cause a difference in our evolutionary journey and then offer that back to the world. Everything, and if you remember, because I have to go back and look at this too, and I was yelled at this in the channeling session that I don't go back and listen like a lot of us don't. But everything that's going on in the world now, Wilhelm said in a channeling session, a year or two, I mean, it's just all there, even down to what was going to happen in the United States, when I thought that didn't make any sense to me. And we're seeing it change now. And we're in the midst of this change, and it's going to be a little explosive over the next few months, because we have to uncover things. We have to uncover things that didn't work for our society as a whole and put in something new, which is why we're all existing now. And the new that we are supposed to put in is us. That's what it is, what we came to bring. And I'm on this mission because it was so clear to me last night. I sat down, and you'll see this later. I found, after I did all of this, I found a paper. Like I keep telling you guys to sit down and write your goals and write what you're doing, where you want to go. Because if you have a picture of it, it makes it more real. It's easier to manifest something. But in 2016, I sat down and wrote my mission statement. Don't know why it came up, but I said, I know that I'm supposed to help people by using my life and my experience and what I've gained and all this stuff. And I said, and I mean, I put it in such detail, completely forgotten about it. Didn't know I had it until I pulled it. I'm searching on my email yesterday. I said, I think I wrote something. And there it was, 2016. And exactly what I wrote is what this program is. That it's going to help people become actualized. It's going to help them understand who they are and their importance in the world. And yeah, it's going to take time, because we have to do it sequentially. We have to do it methodically. We have to stay with it, but that's all that it is. And it was so crazy when I changed the name several months ago to your last development program. I said, well, wait a minute. I did that because everything is in here. What else would anyone need? It's just the time of changing our brains. That's all it is. We change our brains, we decide to accept it, we assimilate that, or we integrate it, because that's what we're doing. We integrate our consciousness to go to higher levels of understanding. And that's all we're ever doing. And this is why I wanted to talk about it today, because I said, I've got to let people know, because you're going to feel things about yourself that you didn't know existed. You're going to uncover gifts or talents that you have that have been pushed away. This is why you're going back and looking at old things and bringing up stuff that you didn't do before. We're all doing it. And I think I talked about the United States thing, correct?
All the time, Roger.
Did it make sense to everyone? I mean, are we seeing it now happening?
At first, when you said the United States will lead the way, I was worried that we were going to be the leading shining example of what happens when you let your guard down and you don't represent for humanity rather than your own personal self-interest. What can happen in a hurry.
I know. And that was challenging for me to write those words, to let those words, because in some of the writings, you can hear my hesitation. I said, people are not going to understand this, but now they are starting to see it.
Well, and we still have a lot of reckoning and truth and reconciliation in this country to deal with. And that's why there's such a backlash to the point of taking chapters out of textbooks, history textbooks, to eliminate the inside passage and to eliminate women's suffrage and to eliminate, human experimentation that all these people paid the price for what we have now.
But that's why you're here.
I know.
That's why you're here. See, because we change, and it's because everything is energy. We're going to look at the dark stuff going on. We're going to look at the evil. We're going to look at that. We're going to see it. We got to see it because it's contrast. However, we are existing because we're in a different plane right now to understand that we have to actualize who we are, and that will make a difference in our world.
I listened to a very interesting woman, a mystic of her own sort. I just discovered her, but she's a person that hears. She's like a ADHD, except she hears words interpreted before she ever hears them. She hears them in her own interpretation. So she's realized this, that she never hears what is coming into her head.
Mhm,
And she lives in a world of metaphors and puns.
mhm.
But she also says, think of what your language sounds like and how you're not aware of that every day is a quote weekday.
Mhm.
The days of the week, the weekend, all these words you're saying, I'm weak, I'm living in a
Mm.
week, this is my week,
Mm. Yeah,
instead of this is my day.
that's,
This is,
everyone will find their particular path, their tool that they will use to access their higher self. That's what we're all doing it. We all have connection. We all have guidance. Some people will sit down and meditate, and in meditation, let me talk about that. And so we can all kind of understand, we all have this incredible information that's available. And so when you meditate, sometimes if you can get to that state of complete quiet, you hear something. The problem is, I think most people think, oh, I'm not supposed to be thinking. I'm not supposed to. Yes, you are. You're going to have thoughts coming in. But what happens is when you become calm enough, you start to hear what the thoughts are telling you. And then over a period of time, I'm talking about my experience and how when I did the automatic writing. And then over time, I knew when I was hearing something that was not of me, that was not just me thinking, it was some other information, because I was able to put it together in the words. Everything that you've read is how that happened. Every single message that I've channeled happened in that way. And it was, and I have to talk about it because when we discover things about ourselves or talents or gifts, sometimes it can be uncomfortable. And it was uncomfortable for me when it first started happening, which is why I thought, I'm not going to tell anybody for 19 years, really. And so we've all done that to a degree. The message this morning was exactly what I want all of you to understand, what I had to write and talk about. What it was called, no one will believe me. And we felt that no one will believe me. If I go off and say I'm going to do this thing, no one's going to believe me. That's what happens. Yeah.
So I've been working on this early morning writing also and listening, and I feel I've created a block for myself. This presence, Stephanie came and had a message for my younger brother, and she came 2 mornings in a row, and it was about trust and all that. And I haven't shared it with my brother, and kind of since then, I just kind of feel like there's this block.
That's it. That's exactly it.
So, I just feel well, what would my brother think if I tell him this, or so.
And that's none of your business.
Yeah.
I might
You've got
add that angels that prompted you are also standing by in case you mishandled the translation.
And we don't control another person's soul.
Yeah.
We only control ours. We only access ours. They're going to make their own decisions. But when we hear something and like that, like what you're saying, you have to let go of it. I had a visitation one time from my niece's mother, who's been gone for years, and I don't know who she is. And so, but a very clear message came through that I was meant to give to my niece. And so I told her, and she didn't get it. She didn't know why I would say that, but on a certain level, I knew that she felt something. I knew that she felt, but it didn't matter. I just had to own what I knew and to say that. And that there was only one other time where that kind of a thing happened to me, in a group where someone's son came. I heard something from them, and so, but I had to tell her, this person, but she was completely different. She go, "Oh, please tell me more." You see, so we could never know. People will be open to what is right for them, but we have to decide that we're going to do and believe what is right for us, and do what's in our heart.
Yeah.
I get yelled at too. I love saying that. I don't get yelled at, but I get reminded. Let's just put it that way. Of what? No, you knew this a long time ago. We all have that. And when I go back to thinking about the two songs that I wrote, the very first two songs were clues to what was the work that I was meant to do. I didn't know that at the time I was writing it. We don't know what we're doing sometimes when we're creating something because it's new. We're just, but we're being guided somehow to do that thing. Everyone is. Whatever work we're moved to, or vocation, or hobby, or craft, or whatever it is, it's because it's part of our, DNA. And so the song was "Listen to Your Heart" and "Better Than Me." Oh, wait a minute. You mean no one is better than me? This is the message that I was supposed to bring to everyone. No one is better than you because you're a unique being that came to offer something very special to the world. And then I wrote to "Listen to Your Heart," which means that, and listen to it, you'll always know the right way. How the heck did I write that back then before I knew I was going to do this work? We all have that. We have these seeds that have been implanted, or glimpses that we've been given throughout our lives. We just uncover them and decide as we're walking along, okay, I'll believe it now. Now I believe it a little bit more. And every day it gets better. Because our only problem is not believing in ourselves. That's all. Doesn't matter where we get to this, because there's always more, you see. There's always more that we can accomplish. And we've also forgotten that we're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be abundant. We're supposed to enjoy our lives. And we stop that when we stop us from becoming our authentic selves. When we hold back from what we are hearing, what we believe. We live in our consciousness, and it is the correct one for us.
It is within us as artists, and now you and I, Roger, as elders, to bring the message without velvet gloves, I guess, using the velvet gloves to deliver the hammer that we've been hit with, so that we can say, yeah, they hit us in the head, but we still have a brain.
Did you?
How old is an elder? I would say over 50.
Did you read the message this morning, the Any Advice message?
I hadn't got it yet.
Oh, Claire, you didn't get it?
No, didn't see it. No.
I haven't gone through my mail yet. So
Oh, because I thought that it'd gone out. I've got it. Anyway, there's a line in there that talks about that the program, it was put to guide you into yourself gently, basically. Yeah. I know it's okay. It should be out soon. Then you guys should see it. Thought it had been
One of my favorite tags for this radio show I used to listen to was "Take it easy." And if you can't take it as easy as you can.
Yes. That we do. We are. I mean, the whole thing about us being our worst critic. Yeah. Yeah. It did go out because you should have it. Okay, but.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm saying it now. It came out just before 9. So
Okay, perfect.
I was just thinking this morning, your story about the karaoke, going someplace where nobody knows you. And it's like, now I realize that you can step across the street and no one knows you because we're all living on a screen,
And we have to, the point of this message today, no one will believe me, is that we have to believe ourselves, and we have to suspend our disbelief. You see, because that's really the issue. I could not believe that really I received this in 2012 and I was supposed to use it today to talk about what's going on in our world. That doesn't make any sense. And that's because we were relegated to linear time, which we know when you study quantum physics, that doesn't exist. Everything is happening now. However, we are still operating that way. But so my looking at this, and it was so freaky to look at this last night and say, because I knew, okay, I had just written the change. I had just written the change and things I'm changing it now. And then I come for the message for today saying change. It's guidance.
I
And
think
we
you have
all
to
have it.
subscribe to any advice for today.
Oh, Heidi, you may not be subscribed.
It's any advice for today.
Yeah, let me give you the website so you can subscribe there. Oh yeah, it will help as you are working on going into the program. Oh, the other thing, Stan told me that everyone has access to should have access to everything now. So all the funnels and everything are working.
I'll look again. As of like last week, I still didn't see anything past lesson 7, week 7 or
Did you look
day
today?
7.
Recently?
No, I haven't looked this week.
Okay, because he did it the other day. It was 2 days ago. He
Oh,
said,
okay.
he said it was there. So you should absolutely check.
Now let me
Here's
look.
the Any Advice site, Heidi, and you can just subscribe at the top there on the site itself. I put it in the chat. So anyway, so you'll see the other thing will come out later, but what we're going to do, because we all operate in the same way. There's no difference in how we all come into the world with something we're supposed to do. We have to figure it out. We'll have our different issues. We have our families. We have our programming. We have our different things. Well, all of it. But when we ask ourselves the correct questions, we get the answers because they're always within us. It's just a process of breaking down what we have been doing, what we have been telling ourselves. We know that we've picked up programming from our parents or guardians or whoever brought us up. We know we did that. We know that happened. But at a certain point, which the message says, we've got to decide, oh, wait a minute, I've got to decide what's right for my life. They were just helping me out in the beginning. That was it. They were just showing me the ropes, but now we've got to create new ropes for ourselves, which is where we're going. So what I decided, and you'll see this is going to be so much fun because we're going to be moving through this for a while. But what we have, the first part of the program is, of course, getting in touch with us, finding out who am I, and that's the most difficult question that people have. They can't answer it, and can't answer it with conviction most of the time, or we don't have confidence. We may think I think who I'm supposed to be, but I can't really say that. No one will believe me. Again, you see, but it's a constant changing of our brain. That's all that we're doing. So the first part is getting in touch with those existential questions of who am I? Why am I here? Why do I exist? And then in examining our lives and what's happened in the past, what we've done, we get clues. And then we can start to interpret those clues and I had this experience, I gained that. Maybe this is who I'm meant to be in this world. And then we keep moving. So that's the first part of it. But then what happens is we have to live with people. All those people who are walking past us, all the people in our house, in front of us, everyone, we have to live with those people. Our teachers, our schools, our parents, our relatives, our siblings, all of them. And they mean something in terms of our journey. But if we don't know who we are, then they start forming our journey. You see, they start saying, well, no, you're supposed to do this. This is who you're supposed, we've all felt that.
Mhm.
And we carry it around for so long.
Mhm.
Oh no, I can't do what we're complete, autonomous, sovereign beings. And that's what we're supposed to be living. That is the joy of our lives, where we have this freedom to just say, this is who I am. And we don't always do that. I couldn't do that forever. That's why I do this work. It is a horrible place to live when you can't state who you are, when you can't share who you feel you are in this world. Everything, and that is why we're seeing so much strife in the world. Too many disempowered, that's what I like to call it. Too many people who do not know how important they are. And that's what we're coming to.
Well, there's,
That, mhm,
I think existence is a reckoning between knowledge, knowing, and being. And in
Mhm.
between the two is the shadow of the self. Whether we
Mhm.
choose to embody all of our thoughts, or if we choose to disembody all of our, wisdom, and we're meant to be synthesized to be
Mhm.
creating from both spheres of the one.
This is
That
what
we-
happens.
we-
I'm
yeah.
gonna go I'm gonna go really esoteric. I'm gonna go really way far out there. So when we're born, we're part of source, we're part of God. We come into the world, we're just a chipped off, or a particle that's just chipped off of God. Let's just think of it that way. But then as we live our lives, we're trying to put that pieces back together. We're trying to remember, we're trying to get home, we're trying to get to that place where we feel whole, where we feel complete. And so our life experience is what we're living in this journey, in this 3D world, is allowing us to ascend to this next place where we're supposed to be. So eventually we make this wonderful, beautiful, heavenly journey into eternalness. That's what happens. But in the meantime, what we're supposed to do now is to prosper, is to thrive, is to shine, is to add a new light and energy into the world. This is why our Wilhelm said we're going through a restructuring. And that restructuring is happening within us, each individual, so that we can then put that into the world. And we're going to move through all the ugliness because we know it's out there and we're going to see it, but it's purposeful. We wouldn't move if we didn't see it. We wouldn't decide to love ourselves or try to find some sense of peace unless we saw the other stuff. Otherwise, we'd be just sitting back and kicking back like we've done for maybe parts of our lives. Well, let me just have a drink and watch some TV now and see what goes on. But again, it's all in our consciousness. And when we understand that, and it's you'll see a little bit of this. I think it's in the broadcast from the channeling session on Wednesday. I was listening to I think I put this out there. There was a new interpretation basically of the Kabbalion. And that's just it's based off of the Hermetic principles, which is a very old, ancient kind of understanding from the Greek gods, or however you want to think of it. But anyway, and so I'm listening to this thing the other day, and it was really quite, it's called an ambient description. They're just talking about the principles in the Kabbalion. And I'm listening and go, yeah, I know all this. Yeah, I know all this. There's a level of understanding that we all have. And so when we listen to something else or read something or hear a lecture or it's a reminder of what we already know on a very deep level. We just decide incrementally how much we're going to accept and how much we're going to believe. That's what we're up to now. But it's easier when we do it together. So this is why I want more people in the program, and I'm going to start restructuring things myself so that we can all come together. I also put out something I'm doing this group on Monday. You're in this, yeah, you guys might want to come to this. You'll see it in the broadcast later, but my friend Rob Love, he has this Facebook group, and he says, we're going to talk about unconditional love. And so on Thursday mornings, we just did a Zoom meeting, 45 minutes, and we just talk about what's going on for us. And we're just talking about unconditional love, because we know that the more of us who do that, we're putting an energy into the world that's going to help uplift everything. And so we'd love, it's in the broadcast. You'll see it later. I think Stan's going to send it out later. But I put the link in for his Facebook group, and you guys can get the link. But it's fun. We just talk, just so that we can get this grounding, because we are moving through, we've all felt it. And some people, I was watching something, listening to somebody's live broadcast the other day, and the comments, and there were people were talking about, I just feel so uneasy. I just feel so nervous. I just don't know what's going on. I just want it to be over with. All of those kinds of things are going on. And these are people that are obviously sensitive to the energies of the world. A lot of people have no idea what I'm talking about. A lot of people have no clue as to these changes that are going in our world. They just think, oh, well, things are just going crazy. That's all that they're going to see. And then a lot of people will be angry. And we have to be aware of that, because we're going to be a little bit angry when we start recognizing how we held ourselves back. So that'll come up. That's okay. We get over that. But then other people are going to be angry because they're not willing to change. And the world is going to change. We're moving into a new dimension. We'll may struggle to get there, but it's going to be one that we're all going to want. It's going to be one that's more inclusive and loving. And we can look back in history and see that has happened over evolutions, over centuries, that has gone on. But this is a big change, because we needed a big rebalancing of our world. And that's what's going on. And Heidi's going to lead us there. No, you will find, and you're all going to see this. It's so many times ones that are just kind of hanging out for a long time, and then all of a sudden just kind of take off. That's what you're going to do. I just thought I'd tell you that what's going what's going to happen. It's that holding back. See, because the holding back only means that there's something pulling you forth. Think about it. That's all that's going on. And eventually we start to let go. And I can say this because I've done this so much in my life. When I first started receiving the messages, I will tell you, I didn't know how to go about it. And so I'm just said, let me ask some questions. That's how I started. That's how I began. And I would ask very specific questions. How can I change this? How can I fix this? How can I do that? And then I was receiving answers. Then I thought, well, wait a minute. These may not be things I need to know. These may not be the real things that I need to know. And so that's why I changed it, because I was controlling things. We want to control things. We want to control our experience because we want to stay put. We don't want things to take us too far outside of what we've known. And so we live these lives where let me just have things stay stable the way they were. And that what's going on in the world, that's why people are uncomfortable. No, we want to go back to the way things were, and that's never going to happen. So that's going to be that's going to be some difficulty, because we're not going back to where they were. So then I started saying, okay, any advice for today? I don't know. Just tell me whatever I need to know. And that's what started coming through when I started letting go of my need to control. And one of the best messages, I don't know where it is, a long time ago, and you guys will get this, and this is why I said it's going to be, Angela, it's going to be uncomfortable for you. I said, because the message I received is that you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because that's it. Yes, we're moving to this other dimension of who we are, this other place in our lives, and it's uncomfortable at first until we get there and we settle and say, okay, now I'm comfortable here. And then there's more. Getting up on stage. You are already on the stage, first of all, Heidi. You have been on the stage. You have, in your consciousness, you have played this out so many times, and you have seen it, actually. And even though you're sitting in it now, you have manifested so much because you've already seen it. And you're visualizing. The only thing that you're doing is that you're finalizing how you're going to put it together, how you're going to allow it to manifest. That's all. Because you know you have to do it, right? Okay, no, tell me.
I would like to do it. I'm not sure.
There we are. Okay, no, this is it. You know this. You do know this. It's in you because it's always been there. You know, from when you were young, you knew you had this different talent, which is why you felt outside of everything. You felt outside of everyone else. And this is a very special talent that you have. You're just allowing yourself to believe it and to access it. And your timeline is perfect. You know, because the other thing that we do is say, oh, I haven't done it yet. I haven't gotten there. It doesn't matter. It happens on your timeline and it's perfect for you. And it's going to happen. There's no other choice. And you felt that too. Haven't you?
And that's what rehearsing is about. That's what practicing is about. Videotaping, all those things, mirroring, doing mirror work, all those things help you to visualize yourself before you ever get in front of an audience.
But Heidi, do you know what I mean? That you've seen it.
I guess.
I love, no, that was enough. That little sheepish agreement is enough because it will grow. It will become large as you keep. It's like you're building something and it's this momentum that starts to happen and you will build it and it will go there. This is what I want to say to you, because I know going through this work, what happens is it's a everyday acceptance that happens. That's how we evolve. So it's in you. I've known it from day one. So, and I know that it's weird because I can, intuitively see things. But it's always going to be just, you're going to access that on your timeline, what is right for you, but it's absolutely happening. And I'm thrilled about that. So
we're just widening our horizons.
Absolutely. And this has been so perfect because you've all said exactly what I wanted people to know about this work, about this program, because it's hard for me to explain it to them. But all the things that you're saying where you're like seeing, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to move here. I'm starting to let go, or I'm letting go of the old stuff, or the old stuff is coming up that I can see it now. And I can start to let go of the trauma, even though if I don't know where it came from, I can still know that I'm moving to release it. And that's what we all want, because that's going to change our world. The only thing that I haven't gotten everyone to completely understand is that, yes, you are changing the world. Your existence is changing the world. And that's everybody, because we're each inputting some type of energy. And the type of energy that we each input will then cause our world to become what it will be. That's what we're doing. And it'll be fun. We're going to make it fun. So I will let you know. I'm going to keep, I'm going to be working on this for the next couple of weeks, as I said, but I just knew that I had to put out these other things. We're dealing with all the fear and all that stuff and, moving beyond all our blockages, but then to get into the nitty gritty of deciding what kinds of money we're going to have in our lives, what kind of relationships we're going to have. All of that is a part of us evolving and becoming our authentic selves, because we're supposed to have everything. That's where we're going. All right. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. This was
Stay
a
warm.
really great, yes, exactly. I will. Yeah, it was cold here today, especially for Los Angeles, but I'm getting there. You guys.
Thank you
have
so
a-
much, Roger.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Great to be with you all each week.
Yes, be well.
And we're gonna have more. There's a couple of new people, several new people that we'll have in too, because and yeah, they're gonna be such a wonderful addition. So we'll get there. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. See you soon.